too many things on my desk here. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about spring makeup trends that came off the runway. You know, I'm a fashion girl at heart. I can't ignore the runway and the major spring collections, and I really wanted to see what they were talking about, what they were putting on those, what crazy looks were they putting on those models. So I did do a little bit of research and found that there were some fairly consistent trends, and I'm going to try and include some photographs from the little trend reports that I read as I'm talking. One of the first trend, and I hear so much about this, is an orange lip. Okay, I'm going to pass on this trend. This is not something I think would be flattering on me, but if you're game, you should definitely give it a try. Lisa Eldridge, if you are interested, Lisa Eldridge did a fabulous video all about orange lip colors and how to wear them. And it almost made me go, huh. And I went, no, 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 no. That would not be a good look on you, girl. So I'm definitely passing on that. There's a lot of eyeshadow looks that were trending, a lot more color, blue and green, as a soft wash of color all over the eye, and like mauves and this kind of light white eyeshadow, this kind of ethereal look, which is the look that I did for you today. Glowing finish to your foundation or your skin was very big on the runway, almost like a natural look. A berry lip, a berry stained lip, and a berry cheek were very popular as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my picks that I had in my makeup collection for some of these trends, and kind of walk you through the look that I chose to do today, which is a little outside my comfort zone. So one of the first trends I want to talk about is a glowing skin. I have a couple things in my makeup collection that I would use. The first would be a primer, like a glowy primer. I know Laura Mercier makes one. I don't own it, but I've seen a lot of people talk about that one. Benefit makes this one called That Gal, which I've tried, is nice. You can always use a finishing powder like one of the Hourglass Ambient Lights. You know, I'm not such a huge fan of that, but a lot of people are, so that's an option. But one of the options I really like, and I use this frequently, especially if I have a foundation that I feel is maybe a little too matte and I want to kind of sheer it out a little bit and maybe add a little bit of glow, and then I'll use a liquid luminizer. This one happens to be from Boots number 7. It gives a really nice finish. Sometimes I use it just to dot along my cheeks, but I also like to mix it with my foundation, which is what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to start off with the Urban Decay Naked Skin, and I generally do like a 2 to 1. I'll do 1 pump of foundation and 2 pumps of this luminizer. You're probably going to have to play around with what works best for you. So I'm going to start by doing a pump here, 2 pumps of this, and I'm just going to mix it up on the back of my hand and start dotting it on my face. So you can see it does just give a very subtle little glow, and I like this particularly if I'm doing something in the evening where I'm not, this won't last on me personally, this won't last all day long because I'm way too oily, but for a dinner engagement or something out, I would wear this because I like it. It just gives you a nice, like a little inner glow. So while we're on the face, I'm going to continue along and do a cheek color. Now, soft berry blush. And I had 2 blushes that I felt fit that category. The first is this color from Tarte, Amazonian Clay in the color Flush. And it does kind of look pretty pink, but when you shear it out, it has kind of a berryish undertone. I happen to think this new blush that I picked up from Milani in Red Vino is probably a better choice. So I'm going to use that today. And I'm going to use a very fluffy brush because it's really pigmented and I don't want to have too much color on my cheeks. I also like this particular blush because it has a little built-in glow to it. So I like that quite a bit. So if you don't have a berry blush, but you have a berry colored lipstick, you could also use that just as like a cream blush on your cheeks. So the likelihood is you might have more choices in your lipstick collection than in your blush collection. So that's just a little side note for you. So on the lips, they were showing a lot of, in addition to that bright orange shade and a classic red lip, they were also showing a soft berry lip. So I thought I would do that look today as I'm talking about these trends because it kind of goes with my overall look that I'm putting together. I went through my lipstick collection to find a couple of choices that I think fit that category. And I have them here on my hand. So the first one is a Revlon lip butter in the color Berry Smoothie. So what I've done is just, because Berry Smoothie could be very bright. So what I've done is just sheared it out with my finger. So you want it to soften it. You don't want to put it on full on. You want to shear it down a little bit. So it almost looks like a lip stain. The next one is from Revlon, and it is called Plum Velour. And that is in the middle here. And again, same technique. Put that on full on. It's going to be pretty dark, but you want to shear it out a little bit. So you can either do it, if I were doing it, I would probably apply it by just kind of tapping and using my finger very gradually and spreading it around. But the color I'm going to use today is a new pickup. I hauled it last week in my spring break haul with Kate, and this is Laura Mercier Stick Gloss in the color Black Orchid. And I'm going to use this today because I'm just totally obsessed with that color. That's this one here. And this is a very sheer formula anyway. So for the eyes, there were a lot of different trending looks for eyes. I'm going to go through a couple of the color choices. It certainly is, I think, a time of year where people tend to wear a little bit more color in the spring and summer because it's just a more colorful time of year, whereas in the winter you tend to wear more neutrals and that kind of more, maybe a little bit more dramatic. All these looks were very sheer, like a sheer wash of color, not a complicated eye look. So I went through my eyeshadows and picked out a few different blues that I thought would look pretty as like a soft wash of color. And they're from a couple different palettes because I thought, well, maybe someone might have one of these in their collections. So the first one comes from this very luscious Kat Von D palette. And this color up here called Piaf, just as a soft wash of color on the eye. So this is almost a blue-gray, a little bit more wearable, but it helps you embrace that blue color. The next color is from the Steal It in the Light palette, and this is called Night Sky right here. And the last one is from this Sonia Kashuk palette, The Jewel of an Eye. And there's a really pretty blue in here that could be sheared out as well. This is probably the truest blue in the bunch. So the next color I saw a lot of is green, and a lot of the models were wearing a pretty bright green. All over the lid, you know, in a wash of color, or under the eyes, kind of defining the eyes with a more neutral look up top. And again, going into this Kat Von D palette, this color here is exactly the color that they had on, and it's like almost a grassy green shade. Looking to some of my other palettes, I had some lovely greens that I thought would work. This going back again to the Jewel of an Eye, going into this lighter green, lightest green shade here, pretty sheer. You could wear that. And also, you know I'm going to go there. One of the newest palettes that I'm just starting to play around with is this one I just picked up from Sephora, the In the Tropics palette. They have this fabulous green here. It's right here. So one of the more wearable trends I thought was this mauve-y eye, this like a soft mauve-y eye. And that's a color that a lot of people probably own, and is super easy to wear. So I have probably the most choices in this category of color to show you. So I'm going to start off with probably the most obvious choice, and that comes from the Naked 3 palette. And you know, quite honestly, any of these colors would probably work, but I really liked Limit Pulled, I thought, kind of the most mauve-y of them all. And this is a nice matte choice. Then from the Lorac Pro palette, this color here called, interestingly enough, Mauve, is another good choice. From Laura Mercier, so this is the 2012 Artist Palette, the limited edition, and that's Plum Smoke down here. See here. This is a little bit, have a little bit more of a purple undertone to it than these other ones, but would work beautifully as well. And then the last one is going back to this great little palette from Sonia Kashuk, and I would probably identify the lightest purpley color. I'm holding the palette upside down. Up here, and that's here. So this is probably a hugely wearable color for anybody, and you probably have something in your collection right now that would go with that. So one of the last eyeshadow looks that I want to talk about today is what they're calling like this ethereal white look, where you wear just kind of a really light shadow on your eye and use a liner with it. So I have a couple of choices for that as well. Steal It in the Light palette, and one of the most popular shades that Stila makes is Kitten. And this is kind of a pinkyish cream color. Very reflective. That would work. I also think that from this new palette that I have, this In the Tropics palette, this color is called St. Vincent, and this is a little bit whiter than the Cares Kitten in here, St. Vincent's. And then right before I sat down to start filming this, I had a brainstorm, and that's what I'm going to actually do today. And that is using the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Barely Branded. And this almost leans, there it is, very soft. Leans a little bit on the nude shade. So I'm going to start off with applying some of this. I'm just going to apply this on the lid. So this is a really pale look, and it's a little shimmery. It's not going to be for everyone, but I think it's important to try things out and give them a go and see, you know, what you like. And because you can just dip into your makeup collection, you can experiment with something you already have. I think in the heat of the summer, something lighter looks pretty fresh, and you could go under the eye with any one of those accent colors like the blue or the green. That bright green would look fabulous with this. I'm not going to do that today because I'm going to go move forward with another makeup trend, and again, this is something I think is kind of classic, and that is navy liner. And I think switching to a navy liner in the summertime is brilliant. I think it's not as stark or heavy, and it comes off a little nautical, a little bit lighter for the summertime. So I went ahead and once again checked my collection. So I'm going to start off with a gel liner from, this is from L'Oreal, and it's in navy. Big surprise there. So if gel liner's your thing, that's a good choice. I also had the Urban Decay Glide On pencil in the color Sabbath. It's kind of a goofy little swatch, but there's that. And then recently I picked up this Stila Stay All Day waterproof liquid liner in the color, I think that's indigo. So it's a little bit of a brighter blue. So I'm actually going to use this, and I'm going to run a very small line along my upper lash line, and then I'm probably going to take this and put it underneath my lashes and smudge it out. So I need to get very close to the mirror for this. Okay, so I finished putting on my liner. I did this along the lash line, and then I tight lined with the pencil, and I also ran the pencil under my lash line and smudged it out a little bit, and did a couple of coats of mascara, and I used a very kind of a glowy brightening concealer. I used the YSL Touche Éclat under my eyes to kind of give a little more brightness there. And I think if you have a little bit more real estate on your lids, I would definitely do a heavier line. I don't have that much real estate, and a heavy line looks kind of wonky. Even this, I think, is a lot of liner for me. And certainly you could cat it out or do a little kitten flick. So I had a ton of fun putting this video together for you. I really enjoyed going through my makeup collection, coming up with different choices that I thought would fit the trends that they're talking about, and trying them out, trying out a look that's a little bit outside my comfort zone, this look here, and just playing around. And I encourage you to do the same. Go through your makeup collection. I think you might be surprised that you have things in there that you can use to freshen up your look for the spring. I would love to know which one of these trends you are most interested in trying out and experimenting with. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Join me on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, the social media of your choice, and I will see you real soon. Bye-bye.